Hello and welcome to All Hands on Tech. I am your host today, Jeremy Morgan, and we are building a JavaScript game. Once again, we are working on our game called Totally Awesome. It's a JavaScript 2D platformer game. If you've never joined this stream before, we're quite a ways into it, but there's still a lot you can learn if you are interested in building games in JavaScript, which is what we're doing today. So we might as well jump right into it, and I'll show you where we're at now and then where we hope to go. So let's bring up our desktop here. All right. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. We're going to fire up Spotify here really quick for a little background music because I almost forgot. And of course it wants me to log in again. So hopefully, why is Spotify being so weird, I wonder? Create your first playlist? What the heck? So I should have logged into this before and figured this out because this is being quite weird. Oh well, no background music today. Spotify is failing on me, which is fine. Let's see, bring up this. And I'm going to try one more thing here. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. I am, this stream that we're doing this week, we're going to be skipping next week. However, you should still tune in because we're going to have some really cool guests on here next week. So I'm getting ready to go down to New Orleans for a show. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. And we're going to share it with you, actually. We're going to have some really cool people on this live stream that we're going to be talking to in person, and it's going to be cool. So definitely check back next week. I do believe this week that David Neal is doing his stream on Thursday. I hope so. And yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Next week is going to be pretty exciting, I think. There's our background music. Hopefully that is working properly. There we go. All right, so let's dig into our game. Let's do some game stuff today. So I have the most recent version of this game. Type in serve, and we'll go over what we did last week. Now there is a playable version of this game available, and I will send the links online. But last week we did a lot of stuff with the enemies, right? We created a couple enemies. We made them so that they kill you, and then we inserted these cherries, and we made it so you have to grab these cherries, get a certain amount of points in order to win the game or advance in the game. You've got to collect these points. Once you collect all of these cherries, a new mad bird gets generated. And so that makes things tricky. So you collect all the cherries, and then it respawns, and there's more cherries to collect, which means more points. And then there's more enemies. So today I kind of want to fight back a little bit. I want to be able to make it so that we can kill the enemies, because otherwise the enemies are going to start building on the screen. And one thing I started thinking is these enemies go, and you can see they just kind of do laps down here. Let's collect the cherries and we'll generate another mad bird. And you'll see that they all just kind of go down there until they fall into that hole. So one of the things I want to do is generate a cherry in that hole, or down by that hole, down here below, so that you have to go and be in the middle of those enemies. But I am going to give the player a little bit of an advantage in that I'm going to give them a ball that they can throw at these enemies and kill them, or at least some of them. I haven't decided whether I want the ball to kill all of them or only some of them, but we'll figure that out as we go. So, I was like, oh, it's gonna do a quick tech check, really quick here. I'm just gonna make sure that we are streaming everywhere that we say we are streaming, right? It looks like today we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and Twitch. So let's check all of those and make sure that we are actually streaming on those. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. LinkedIn? We're live on LinkedIn. All right. Well, that is what I wanted to share here. Okay. And I was going to tweet something out, wasn't I? So I want to thank you all for joining me today. We're going to do some cool stuff. We are definitely going to make this game more fun and more playable. And I will drop the links in the chat for the source code for this application, because that's one of the things that people have been asking me about. Where can you find the source? You can find the source right here. And I'll drop it in the chat. And we have a playable version here at itch.io. Every week we do the stream. Let's see, playable version. So every week I do the stream and then I commit the code up to GitHub and I push it up to itch.io so it's playable. So every week when you watch us build this stuff, if you're joining along, you can pull down all the source code that we've created and you can play the playable version on itch.io. Feel free to take this game and fork it and do fun stuff with it. And share it with me. Let me know if you fork it and you do something cool. You add a level or a new enemy or something. Let me know. We'll pull it in and take a look at it. So we want to give this give our little toad here a little bit more power. And what I mean by that is we want them to be able to fight back a little bit. So I'm going to create a ball. We throw the ball at the enemy. If it connects with the enemy dies. And I gave this some thought, gave it quite a bit of thought. And what I think I want to do is make a bouncing ball. It makes it a little bit harder, right? Because if you just have a thing where he just throws a ball and it goes directly like a laser to the enemy, that's cool and all, but it's not very challenging, right? It's not super challenging. So the first thing we need to do is create a ball. And I don't think I'm going to animate this ball. I think I'm just going to, let's see, 32 by 32. Which actually is the size of the player. So this ball is going to be big. So I decided it'd be cool to take this big bouncy ball rather than like a tiny little baseball. This is just going to be a big bouncy ball that bounces. When it hits the enemy, it kills them. So Actually, red is probably, I was thinking blue, but red's good. I got red loaded up. Let's do a red ball. Let's make this a big red ball. So I'm going to take this. Let's rasterize this, actually. Rasterize this layer. Let's put a little bit of shine on the ball. So we'll do a gradient. We'll put just a little bit of shine on here. If we do like a Gaussian blur, which of course is my favorite, we can do a little bit of blur on it. Actually, start over here. I'm going to contract it a little bit. So we're going to do select, modify, contract. We're going to contract this by like 2 pixels. There we go. And this is just kind of the little detailed touches we want to do to make this thing look a little realistic. Now we'll throw some Gaussian blur on there. Not that much. Blur, Gaussian blur. We just want a little bit of blur there. Something like that. And I take that back. I forgot to create a new layer. Take this, unselect it. We'll give it just a tiny bit of blur. Gaussian blur, let's say like this much. We'll fade it out, fade the opacity a little bit, and then we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to take this, we're going to contract this one, modify, contract by 2 pixels, and we're going to go with a little bit darker color. This is just going to make the ball look a little more realistic, right? Actually, something like this. We'll blur that one, the same amount of blur. I don't really like this dark red color. It doesn't look like it matches. So we're going to go with like this level of red. We won't spend too much time on the graphics stuff, but just kind of want to make it look cool. Something like that. That looks like a pretty good ball. View extras. I will Gaussian blur that spot. Now this looks like a pretty good ball. Looks like it has a little bit of shadow. Looks like it has a light source on it. It's not too bad, really. It's pretty good. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And I am watching the comments for questions that you may have about this. Copy link. There we go. Just a little bit more advertising there. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat and we will discuss it. So we'll do a quick export as PNG. I'm going to call this ball.png. Now, when the ball hits an enemy, we want it to explode. Now we're going to reach kind of the limit of my Photoshop artistic abilities here, but I'm going to make an explosion. And we do have a question here from YouTube. Let me open that up here. ULearn is asking, what screen recording software are you using? I'm using OBS to do this. So I will send you a link to the screen recording software. And this is what we're using to stream. However, using OBS. You can also use it for screen recording. I also use it to record my tutorials and courses and videos and all that. I just set it up to record instead of stream, and it's pretty seamless and easy. I really like it. I like OBS a lot. So we need to create an explosion. So I'm going to put in like 4 frames in here, I think, for an explosion. So that's 128. I think I already have, oops, not that way. New. Width of 128. Height of 32. We're also going to make the explosion 32 pixels. So the explosion is going to be pretty big. And we're going to make this an animation because that makes sense. And so I think what I'll do is just, it'll be kind of a really crude thing. Now, if you've watched this stream before, you know that I have a few little tips and tricks that I do for animation. One of them is I like to draw out a grid. So I try to draw a perfect square here, which for some reason it's not wanting to do a perfect square. I could just do a new 32 by 32 square here. We'll fill this with black. Select it all. We'll contract 1 pixel. Like this. There we go. Select all and copy. And so what I've done is there's a 32 by 32 grid with a very specific square around it. And I'm doing that so that we can see the grids, because we break up these sprites into these 32 by 32 grids, but it's sometimes difficult to see. When you're looking at this blank screen like this, it's hard to see where you're lined up. So this is one of the tricks that I do is I put in these little grids here so that I can see each of the 32 by 32 cells. And for some reason, I think I do need to line this up. This is somewhat like an Apple Store game. You could make an Apple Store game out of this. We're using the Phaser.js framework. So if you're interested, feel free and follow us here. And we'll show you how to build a game in Phaser. That is the intention here. We're not actually building this game to sell it or anything like that. This is just for educational purposes. We're building the game, giving it away, using JavaScript, basically. So, if that makes sense. And just making sure I'm live on Twitch. It appears that I am. Even though there's not a lot of people on Twitch today. So, I can take this and just kind of fade it in, and now I can see approximately what my grids look like. Which is a good thing to do so that things stay lined up and they stay good. So we're going to create a new layer here. And this is going to be our explosion. I'm thinking I'll just take something like this, make it yellow with a little, actually, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do smoke. Probably won't do smoke, but so we'll do this. We'll create another layer here. And we'll use red once again because explosions are red. And this can be the start of our explosion. So I'm going to take these 2 shapes, and these shapes are what I'm going to use as we go through this explosion. I'm really thinking that I should add another frame, so I'm going to add another frame. The way I'll do that is I'll adjust my canvas size, image, canvas size over here. Instead of 128, we're going to add 32 to 128, which is 156, right? Something like that. Or no, it's, geez. 128, it's going to be 160. There we go. And then, of course, I can take my little grid here, copy, add that in here so that I have a good indication of where the grid is. We'll take it down here. This one is at 66%, so I'll go 66%, and we'll merge those two together. That's how easy it is to add a frame to your animation. So the explosion will start out like this. It's going to start out a little small. I'm going to take these two and drag them to a folder. So we have group 1. We're going to call this 0. And this is going to be the explosion at 0. And let's Gaussian blur that a little bit too, because we want it to kind of look like an explosion. That isn't too bad. Now the reason I drug these two into a folder is because I'm just going to take this and copy it. Now I have frame 1, and I can take these two and just drag them over, and I can make this. We'll scale it a little bit. Transform scale. And here I can make the explosion a little bigger. I'll make sure it's centered mostly in the frame. There we go. Now that one's a little bit bigger. I can take this and drag it over again. This one is, it's named 0 copy, but we're going to name it 2. And for number 2, we'll make it even bigger. Transform scale. Make it big like that. That looks like a pretty big explosion, right? And then I can just take this, number 1, this one, copy that over here for number 3. So rename that number 3. So it's pretty much just going to get big, back to the same size. And then for the last one, we should just put some smoke, I think, or something. I'm not even really sure how I would draw smoke on here. Probably a brush. Let's see what kind of brush tool we have. Take a brush, we'll do something gray. We'll do another layer here. Up, up, up. Yeah, something like that works pretty good. We'll do a Gaussian blur again. Yeah, I think that'll work. So this, we've just shown, now we've done this on this stream before, but this might be your first time seeing it. This is how we create a sprite animation. It's basically we just take these 32 by 32 blocks, put them together. I like to put this little grid over here. And yeah, it's good to go. So I'm going to save the PSD on my computer, and we will save this PSD in the repo so that you can open up the PSD and do something different with it if you'd like. So I'm going to go and save this into Totally Awesome, into project files, PSD, explosion, PSD. Awesome. And then I'm going to turn those grids off because we don't need the grids anymore. And this is going to be our sprite animation. It looks a little off to me for some reason. but it could just be me. But we'll see what happens when we use it. And we're not going to save for web. Cancel. So export as PNG. Oops. So it's been kind of cool building this game because we're building, and this is explosion.png. It's been cool because we've used these pixel packs, but we've also done some original stuff in here. So this image, this one, game over. Like there's a lot of original images that we've put in here. Plus we've used this pixel pack from Pixel Frog that works really good. And so we've got kind of a mix of original stuff and not so original stuff. If I were a better artist, I would do the entire art pack myself. However, I'm just not really that great of an artist. We have ball. Let's also save that as a PSD on my computer. We're going to save this as ball.psd. And I believe we already exported that one, so we should have, yeah, we have explosion and ball PNG. So now we just got to add them. And we're going to add those in our preload. We've done this many times before, but we're going to say this load sprite sheet ball. There we go. Assets, ball PNG, frame width 32, frame height 32. So we are good to go. There, we need to do an explosion. Explosion is very similar. This load sprite sheet, explosion, assets, explosion, PNG. Yeah, that will work. And we do want to do frame height for both of those, right? So we got those. And what is this coming into the chat here? Okay. So we've got our stuff going pretty good here. We've got an explosion. We've got a ball, and these are loaded in the preload section. Preload is the one that's loaded one time before the game starts. And then create is when we're actually creating the game. So now we need to create this ball. If we look, we've got ground layer, enemy, colliders. I'm not sure why I put the colliders in there. I'm going to add some comments here so that we don't get confused. Enemy colliders. And then I'm going to put, if you touch an enemy. And this one is, yeah, a player collides with a cherry. Madbird group. We do need some organization around here already. We're starting to get so much code in here that I want to break this up into pieces. Hello, Remon, following with keen interest. Thank you for following me in here. We do streams here on Twitch every week. I do stream every Tuesday. David Neal does a stream every Thursday, and we build JavaScript games. So it's fun stuff. I will put a link to our Twitch because that's where we stream most of the time. So thank you for joining. All right. Now we need to, we're creating a ball. Create a ball for the player to throw. Now I'm not doing any animation on this ball. And yeah, this is a pretty good ball creation thing here. Create a ball for the player to throw. This physics adds sprite. It's going to add sprite wherever the player is. So this player X, this player Y, that's going to be wherever the player is at. So as the player is moving along, the ball will be with him, but we need to make it not visible. We've set our bounce, because remember we said the ball was going to bounce. Select flag world bounds true. This ball set visible, isn't it? Maybe it's not. Set visible false. That's what I want. So I want it to be false. And let's just let's restart the game here. Make sure that we haven't broken anything yet. And we did. See that? There's our ball, but no player. So let's see what I did. This ball set visible is not a function. Okay. I thought it was. Set visible. Huh. Let's look at the autocomplete and see interval. So I guess set visible I thought was a property. I keep going to the wrong one. Start. Now the ball starts where I am, but as you can see, it just drops to the ground for now. So there's no colliders preventing it from going anywhere. It's starting with the player. We will have to figure out how to set that visibility on that ball. We'll probably do that in the update. But it starts where the player starts, it looks like. Yep. Okay. So we can do that. So we have a ball. This is the ball that we're going to throw at the enemies, right? We're going to bounce at them, I guess you could say. So we need to set some colliders for that. The first thing I'm going to do is create an animation for the explosion, because we want to get that out of the way here. So we'll go down here. Here's all of our animations. We've got tons of them. Last one was a cherry animation. So let's do this. Anims create. Key. Explosion. Comma. Frames. Now for this one, we don't want this one to repeat. So we're going to say repeat 0. We're going to start at frame 0 and end at frame 3, because I believe we had 3 frames in that, right? Let's double check that. Yep, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 frames, so we want to start and end at 4. So this is our explosion animation. Let's make sure we've done this right. It appears that we have. We've got a couple cherries. Okay, cool. We'll just let this run. So we have our explode animation. That's what's going to play whenever we bounce a ball and the ball touches the enemy. It's going to go. It's going to be awesome. Now we need to launch the ball. So to do that, we need to grab our spacebar input in our, and we need to create it here in Create. I believe, or maybe it's Update. I think it's in Create. We will grab the spacebar. Yeah, input events. There we go. So in input events, we'll put create stuff there. We'll add this into input events. We'll say this space bar is what I've decided I want to use. This space bar, looks like this could be, yeah, this space bar. So we're saying this input keyboard, add key, phaser input keyboard, key codes, space. So we're adding in a space bar to shoot that ball. Once again, refresh the game, make sure we haven't broken anything. So far we have not, but when we press the space bar, nothing happens yet, because that's when we're going to, that's what we're going to do next in update. So in update, Player movement. Yeah, that's a decent comment. We'll go down here. We have, I think down here is probably the best place to add the launch stuff because we're in update. We're looking for, this is mostly cursor up and down, etc. Yeah, we'll put it up here with the cursors instead of the enemy movement. Because I'm trying to group everything together here. I'm trying to basically group together inputs and animations and colliders and all of this kind of stuff. So in here, we're going to launch the ball when the space bar is down. So if the space bar is down, let's test this movement really quick. Console log space bar. Start. There we can see space bar. So that's working. So if the space bar is down, we're going to launch the ball. So we're going to say this ball. Now set visible true. It's very interesting. That set visible false did not work earlier, but I'm just remembering that we need to set it to visible. So let's go up here to where we create the ball. Right here, create a ball for the player to throw. False. Let's see if that works, or if it just draws that stupid box. It does not. So there we go. Now, if you notice here, when we start, the ball is not visible, but when I press space bar, ding, you can see it down there. Oh, I got killed. That's fine. So the space bar, we know this works. We go down here to space bar. Ball set visible true. We need to bring it back to where the player is. So wherever the player is at, basically what I've decided, this ball has to launch from where the player is. So you're just imagining that the player is carrying this ball. You just can't see it. So ball set position. There we go. Set position. This player X, this player Y. Let's try that really quick. See if that brings the ball back to us. And it does, except the ball just falls. That's not very helpful. So we'll set some velocity to this thing. This ball set velocity X. I'll say 50. Now in here, we're probably going to have to put in some logic for the player facing right or left again, because remember we had this issue a couple of weeks ago where when we were walking and it stopped, well, the player turned around and we had to really know where the player is. So we already have that logic to know which direction the player is facing. So if we run into that problem, we've got a pretty easy fix. And our velocity, perhaps I set the wrong velocity. So what we can do is put a little Boolean in there. If the direction, we have the direction facing, right? So if the direction faced is one way or another, we already have that logic in there. So, and I just realized that I set the wrong one, right? So velocity Y. Oops. Let's make sure this part of it works before we keep moving. And yeah, it really isn't setting any velocity on it yet. Just fine. And we can see that we don't have any colliders. X. Let's see if this helps with the velocity a little bit. Kinda. I mean, we're kind of bouncing it. But I would like to increase that. Let's say minus 200. There we go. That's a little more throw, but as you can see, it's throwing it backwards, even though I'm facing that way. So like I said, we have that problem again in the direction that we're facing. We need to throw the ball in the direction that we're facing. So not super difficult to do. We will say this direction facing, direction facing right. Look at that, our autocomplete saves us again, except I don't want 160, I want 200 and 200. So if the direction facing is right, then we'll send it 200 to the right. If we're facing left, so if not right, then minus 200. This should make it fling the ball in the direction that we want it to fling. There we go. So I can fling the ball. And I do think it needs some more bounce. And we need to add in our colliders, right? So we have to add in the colliders for the ground layer, the platform, the enemies, all of them. And we'll do that up here in our colliders. Here's some player colliders, enemy colliders. If you touch an enemy, right here. Ball colliders. Now, if you haven't been watching this thing too much, I might be going a little fast, but colliders are collision detection algorithms that basically say if the ball is touching this, then we'll add a collider that says do this thing if these two things touch. So we'll do this, and we're just kind of copying what we've done a bunch of times here, which is just add collider. The collider will be this ball and this ground layer. So now it'll collide with the ground layer and the platform layer. So let's see what it looks like now. And at this point, it's still kind of harmless to the enemies, but there we go. Our ball is colliding. It needs more bounce, though. That just doesn't seem super realistic, so we're going to add a little more bounce to our ball. But we're tossing a ball around here. Doink, doink, doink. So we are accomplishing something. And one thing that I've noticed is everything here looks very pixelated, except that ball does not. The ball needs a black band around it. I don't know if y'all in chat agree with me on this, but the ball looks very out of place right now because everything here has this black cartoon outline except for our ball. Our ball looks shiny and smooth, but it needs a black outline. Thankfully, that's super easy to do. We will go here. We will select this ellipse. And we'll put a stroke around it of 1 pixel black. Maybe 2 pixels. We'll see. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Quick export is PNG to ball PNG. Yes, I'd like to replace it. Also, I would like to save it. Let's see. This little details like this can sometimes bug me. There we go. The ball looks a little more like it belongs, right? Like the cherries and everything here has a black outline around it. So we just wanted the ball to have the same effect. But our ball is not bouncing. It's not doing anything to the enemies either, but it's not bouncing. It's just kind of sliding. So let's bounce it. Let's play with the ball bounce. And that is up here where we created the ball. We have the enemy set bounce to 0.2. Let's set the ball bounce to 0.9. Because we've been setting 0.2 for everything. So that's why I just kind of automatically dropped in the 0.2. There we go. That's a lot more bounce. That is what I'm looking for. So if we kick this thing off, it goes boing. I mean, maybe 0.9 might be a little much, even. But it's a lot better of a bounce. There we go. We got some good bounce. So that's a lot more realistic than that little sliding across the ground thing that we had going. We don't want to do the sliding across the ground thing. So now we've got a ball. It has a collider. Now we need it to collide with an enemy and do something to them. It's going to be a little bit different because our mad birds are created from a group. The blue bird is just created once and that's it, but we create a mad bird every single time we get cherries. So we will have two very different processes for that. And I may have to consult the documentation to see exactly how collision detection with the group is going to work. But we know how it's going to work in here. And I'm going to put this to 0.8. I think we'll just slow it down just a tad. Ball colliders. So we need to do this. Physics. Add. Collider. This ball. This enemy. Look at that. Auto completed code from tab 9 says this ball set visible to false. So it does a little anonymous function in there. Sure, we can, okay. So it says this ball. How about this enemy instead of this ball? So if it collides with the bird, it should make the bird disappear. Which of course we're going to make it explode. We want explosions in this game, right? So there we go. Bird's gone. Ball's still going. Just kind of bouncing all over. That's actually, I think, what we want. So one of the ways we can stop this, so this ball will just kind of go wherever, but if we hit space again, then we grab the ball again. And I think that's the movement I want. I don't think I want it to generate multiple balls. You get one. And if it's going off doing something you don't like, you can just hit the space bar and do it again. And there we can see we just took out the enemy. But we need to take out the enemy and make an explosion. So let's create, let's see. Yeah, let's create something different. Let's do a destroy enemy. So instead of this, we're going to say this destroy enemy null. I think it is, yeah, null this. So we're going to call destroy enemy function that we have not built yet. So we'll go all the way down here. Remember this area? Collect cherry, create mad bird. Now we're going to do destroy enemy, which does nothing right now. Let's test this functionality and say console log destroying enemy. Perfect. Let's just make sure that that function is being called when we hit the enemy with the ball. It's going to go down. It's going to go down. And not this enemy because that collision detection does not work yet. This is only the bluebird that it works on. So as soon as this little bluebird comes down, I'm going to try to get him with the ball. There we go. Perfect. So as you can see, it doesn't do anything to the enemy, except it is colliding with it, and it is calling destroy enemy when it collides with it. Let's see if it does it again. Yep, it called destroy enemy again. So for destroy enemy function, we want to play that animation explosion. Well, we want to destroy the enemy, of course. So we can say this enemy destroy. We'll go here again. We'll start. Whoa. Let's see what happens when... There we go. Oh, it froze, actually. Cannot read properties of undefined reading. Play. I'm not sure what that means. This enemy destroy. Totally seized up the game. Destroying enemy. Cannot read properties of undefined reading. Play. I didn't realize it was reading anything named play. So let's see. We'll do something a little different here. We'll go here. We'll try to hit that player. There we go. Okay, so we're still calling the destroy enemy function. However, I think we're going to have to pass in that that enemy. We're going to have to pass in the ball and the enemy. Before we can say enemy destroy. Disable body is what it's saying, but we can disable body. That's fine. That should work. So this will just disable that enemy. The enemy's going in, but we need to pass the enemy. I believe destroy enemy. Yeah, this should work. Should work. I love saying that. Should work. If not, I'll say interesting. Oops. I'm going to get this ready to hit him. There we go. Destroying enemy. Okay, so our enemy is destroyed. Now the enemy's gone. Cool, cool, cool. However, we want to do the explosion. And we want to do the explosion right where the enemy is. That's important. So we can't just draw a random explosion on the screen. So we're going to say let explosion equals, and yeah, the autocomplete says create this explosion at ball X and ball Y, which makes sense to do it where the ball is instead of where the enemy is. But I think I'm still gonna do it where the enemy is, actually, because the ball could bounce into the enemy and take off, and then the explosion will be there. I don't know. We'll play around with it. So this is gonna call explosion, right? So let explosion creates a new explosion at enemy X and Y. And then, of course, we're going to say explosion anims play explosion true. So we're going to play that animation. And let's see what that looks like. Exciting stuff, right? Like I said, we have to create a different one for that enemy. So, ooh, and it died. How did it die? Cannot read properties of undefined. We do const here. Const explosion. Explosion, anims play, explosion. True. Make sure I'm calling the right animation, because I don't remember if I called it explode or I called it explosion. So let's find out. I did call it explosion. I'm going to say explosion when enemy is hit. We have an explosion. Generate frames. Maybe we should call this explode or something. Key enemy explode. Just so we don't have the same keys all over the place. Scroll down here. Explosion, enemies play, enemy explode equals true. This should play our animation. Or it'll freeze up the game. One or the other. Jump. Oh, and it hit it. And it's still freezing it up on us. It's got to be something with this explosion. Let's take out the animation. And do this. Take out the animation. Jump over him. Nope, it is definitely in here. So instead of explosions create, I'm going to do a sprite create. I'm going to say this, add sprite, enemy explosion. This is where I think the issue is. I think instead of creating an explosion, it should create a sprite. Ooh. And I'm kind of terrible at this game. Now, as you can see, that is one thing to, there we go. There's our explosion. It's not playing the animation yet, but we have replaced the bird with an explosion. So now we can do enemy explode true. Let's try to restart this again. Start. And we are going to have to change it for the mad bird if we want to kill the mad bird. And there we go. Now I've got our explosion. The smoke is still there, which might be kind of cool, but it needs to go away. So once our animation is complete, then we should destroy this, right? We should say explosion. Let's see, explosion once. And then that's going to wait for animation complete. We'll have it run a anonymous function here. And in there we can say explosion destroy. We'll make it destroy itself. So once the animation's complete, destroy itself. Should work. And we are already at the top of the hour, but I'm super impressed with how things have gone. We have gotten lucky today. There we go. Heck yeah. So obviously this has no effect on the mad bird, but it does have effect on that first enemy, the blue bird. But we need to put this, we need to set this up for a group because we're going to put the little blue bird in a group too. There we go. Now, of course, next time I stream, which will be week after next, we'll add in an enemy counter, right? So we're counting the enemies that we smoke and everything else. But we've got this so it destroys enemy. Now we need to create a collider for the group. And I'm going to steal this code right here. If mad birds count active. So collision detection is going to be a little bit different with this, with the other enemy, because the other enemy is a part of a group. So we're going to be going after instances of a group instead of a solid enemy. So we have this Mad Birds group. Here's our ball collider. Okay, so it's going to go right here. This physics add collider. Maybe it'll work with this Mad Birds. I don't think so, though. Don't think this is going to work. Not in the stuff that I have read. It should not just work off of a group. Nope. But we did take out that enemy. But it will not work with the Mad Bird. As you can see, they collided, and it does nothing. So there is some differences in the way it does it. So I know how to iterate through the group. Console log Mad Birds. So we're just going to say if Mad Birds exist. Oh, and that breaks something. Can't read Mad Birds current active because we probably haven't added the Mad Birds group yet. Right? Where do we add the Mad Birds group? Right here, create a Mad Bird group. So this, we have to, we should move these, the cherry group and the Adbird group, we should move those up anyway. Create player, create enemy, blah, blah, blah. Let's, because this is kind of a part of the ground, right? The platforms and stuff like that. And a little bit. Let's see if that works. There we go. So now it might work. Because we've created this previously, let's see if this collider now works. Not sure though. I still don't think it's going to work. If that makes any sense. Still not sure if it's going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Got him. And it is colliding. It's just not destroying anything. So that one's interesting. It's colliding. It slows them down, as you can see. It is colliding, but it's not doing anything. Oh. This destroy enemy. And I'm not even sure that I want to, oh, yikes, that I want the Mad Birds to be able to be destroyed, because the Mad Birds might be kind of fun. Oh, and a Mad Bird just got destroyed by an errant ball that was laying around. So there we go. Now we've got no more enemies on the screen. And we can just let the ball go wherever, because if we need the ball again, we're going to go press spacebar. Now the ball is in the hole. All right, now we got more enemies. And the ball just destroyed the enemy. Perfect. So I wasn't sure if that was actually going to work, but it appears to work. So now you got a little bit of defense, right? You can defend yourself against the enemies, which is good because every time you collect all the cherries, another enemy appears. Another set of cherries appears, and another enemy appears. Now, I'm thinking for a future stream, that we make it a little harder. Like the enemy has to be hit twice. Or 3 times, because now this game is super easy, right? We just made this game like super easy. You can just kick off a ball. Whoa, yikes. There we go. And all of a sudden this game just becomes super easy. So to make it a little harder, I think I want to make it... oh, hello, Thindle. Thanks for visiting my stream today. Just about ready to wrap it up, but very cool of you to come by. So today we gave the player of this game a little bit of offense. So as you can see, I can now throw a ball, and this ball kills the enemies. So, see if we can get them. Oh no, it's gonna go. There we go. So now we have a ball that kills enemies. Believe it or not, it was not difficult to deploy. Not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but so what I do is I've just been studying the phaser documentation and playing around with my own games and stuff, or just kind of demos. And yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this easy, but it was pretty easy. So now this game has also become really easy, which is what I was just saying, is now, you know, every time you collect all the cherries, it generates another mad bird, but the mad bird's super easy to kill. So now it's, yeah, I think I'm going to make it so you have to hit the birds 3 or 4 times before it kills them. Just put a little counter in there or something. Because, yeah, it's too easy. Far too easy. So we'll go to destroy enemy. Let's put in our create, we will create a key. This enemy hit is 0. This mad bird hit. Actually, we'll just do the mad bird for now. Right. So this enemy hit 0. And then every time we call this all the way down, destroy enemy, we just do this enemy hit plus plus. Then we say if this enemy hit is 2, that means they have to be hit 3 times. Then they die. Autocomplete. Completed very nicely there. Let's see how this works. Now this one it might be a little bit difficult to separate it by enemy, but we'll see. So bam, we hit him once, hit him twice. Hit him once. Hit him a bunch of times. So now the bird seems to be pretty much immune. So of course that just means we need to reset enemy hit when we do this. So this enemy hit back to 0. But I'm not sure if one hit, yeah, I'm not sure if it's incrementing it. I think it's incrementing it for both enemies. So if you hit one enemy once and one enemy twice, then it'll kill him. That one was kind of hard because it hit him a couple times. So we still have some stuff that we need to do here, right? We still got some challenges. Because that's just too easy also. Especially when it hits him, he stands still. Which of course makes it way easier to kill them. So if we go here. Oh, here we go. Oh, he just jumped over it that time, which is cool. That's what we want it to do. We want it to be a little bit harder. So maybe on that we can bounce the enemy a different direction. So it like kind of bounces away. So every single time this enemy hit, if enemy hit is equal to 2, but we could say else, so if it's not yet equal to 2, enemy x, set velocity x, we can set its velocity to a different direction. Let's see what that does. So we want the enemy to be able to get away from that ball instead of just sitting there like it gets kind of paralyzed there. And that was weird. That enemy just exploded for no reason. And that one exploded off of one hit. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Just for him to just run for it. So let's see. It may not work with the mad birds. I'm guessing it's not gonna. The velocity thing isn't gonna work because they're part of a group, and that's a little bit different. Huh. So it's interesting that it only took one hit to kill it. It was a little unexpected. There we go again. One hit to kill it. One hit to kill it. Somehow my functionality is not working now. This enemy hit ++. We start at 0. I mean, I think we're going to have to console log and an enemy hit plus this enemy hit. So we can just see what that counter is as we go along. Once again, I'm going over time, but what the heck? It's fun, and we have a lot of people watching, so I don't mind going over the hour when I don't have meetings to do. So enemy hit 1 should not be destroying it. Yeah. How am I? I am great. I'm a little busy this week, getting ready to go to New Orleans for our big Link event. So I won't be doing a live stream of a game next week, but you will see me on a live stream next week talking to some really cool people at the Link event. It's called Pluralsight Link, and it's a company event. So, yeah, it's a company event where we get people together, Pluralsight authors, teachers and stuff, and chat with them. So we're going to have them on here. We are going to do a live stream. We're setting up a studio and all kinds of cool stuff. So we're going to have a lot of cool people with names that you may recognize. And we'll be chatting about career building and all kinds of cool stuff. And we're doing Tech Skills Day, also from New Orleans. And Pluralsight's going to be free for a week. And it's all going to be really exciting stuff. I don't know that many names. Well, me either, it feels like. But there are some cool folks. Free for old users too? I believe so, yeah. I think they're just going to open up the platform for free for the entire week. Even if you used to have an account, I think it'll still work. I'll find out for you, though. Some dude named Chair. I have courses on Pluralsight. Trying to think of course. You might be interested in my IAS courses. That's how I started out with Pluralsight, is I did a lot of stuff on IAS. Including one that was retired because it was done in 2015, I believe. or 2016, and it's been retired, but I have some IS courses on there. I have some Golang. I have a course on the Go standard library, which is my personal favorite, I think, of all the courses I've done. And then one on Vue.js. So I haven't, since I've become a full-time employee, I haven't had time to build many courses, but that's something that I'm going to change as soon as I'm done writing a book, all this fun stuff, you know. It's good. Good times, though. So, as I've been playing this thing, I noticed a couple of things that are kind of cool. I like the way the enemy darts when it gets hit, but it does dart in a predictable direction. But I'm thinking I need to do something a little bit different with this counter because it's not quite working. There we go. See, that's the kind of cool thing that I want to see is when it hit it, it like shot off into the distance and then came back. So that was pretty cool. That's what I want to see. I want it to like shoot off into the distance and hit the player. So got hitting them one time. Yeah, for some reason, it's only incrementing it to 1. So if this enemy hit, say greater than 2. Let's try that. I want this thing to hit 3 times. So enemy hit 1. There we go. Enemy hit 2. But it should be when it's greater than 2, not 2. So I'm not sure. And it's not specific. That is an issue. It is not specific towards the enemy. So maybe I can check for an enemy type. Enemy. Let's see if it's like a child of Madbird. Actually, yeah, let's try doing that with the collider, actually. Is we'll try to say if we have Madbirds, children iterate. We'll steal this portion of the code here, and you'll see what I'm thinking here in a minute. Up here in the colliders, where are the colliders? This is why I need to break up this code. Player colliders, enemy colliders, if you touch an enemy. Ball colliders. So for the Madbirds, if we have a group of Madbirds, then we should add this collider or the children of, if that makes sense. So here I have some code that I can steal. So if this Madbirds active is true, that means we do have Madbirds in our group. So when we iterate through that group, add a collider for each one of them. This, well, let's pull this in here. And we need to pass this into like an anonymous function, I think. Similar to what I've got here. I'm going to pass this Madbird I don't know why I put double quotes around that. I don't know what language I'm in. Got an anonymous function. In there, we're going to add this collider. There we go. Madbird. Let's see, this physics. And add overlap might be good. This ball and this mad bird. And then destroy enemy. This destroy enemy, null this. So yeah, I think this might work. Let's find out. Let's save it and find out. Basically what I'm thinking is iterating through the children and creating a collider for each child of the mad bird so that one hit to one mad bird doesn't necessarily increment for all of them. However, I think I'm still kind of stuck a little bit. Still a little bit stuck, but we'll see. So we'll send this little ball. Once again, it's destroying the enemy with one hit. So I'm not really sure why that's happening. And I may not have the time to figure it out today. But yeah, that's one hit. 0, 1, 2. Boom. Destroy enemy. One hit. And we can see, because we put a console log in here, we can see that we're incrementing this stuff. 0, 1, 2. But I don't know why when it hits. I'm going to have to bounce the ball off of the player. Maybe it's because it's player's touching. So it's going through 3 frames really fast. And counting it up really fast. I don't know. I'm guessing at this point. But if I bounce the ball away, then that will... let's see, ball, set velocity, X to 30. So this way the ball and the enemy fly in different directions. There we go. But that one hit it. That doesn't make much sense. That one, it killed the bird in no time flat. Still with one hit. Oh, just killed a mad bird with one hit. Huh. We should put a timer on there or something. I don't know. I hate using timers for anything in code. Like, I hate using the timer to, like, I don't know. I just hate using a timer to delay things artificially. But that might be the way to do it. Yeah, it's hitting it in one hit. It's counting it. This enemy hit. Somehow just going tink, tink, tink and incrementing it super quick. Now, if the enemy hit is, let's say, greater than 20, let's make it so we got to hit him 20 times. I don't know. See if we can still get him with one hit, even if it's 20. I don't think we can. Well, pretty close. Enemy hit 0. Send another one over here. Enemy hit 1. Enemy hit, yeah, it incremented all the way to 9. Somehow. I think it is just kind of a, yeah. I'll have to put in some kind of JavaScript delay, maybe. Because I think it's just counting it way too fast as it does that. So, let's see, delay. Oh, I wonder if there's a special delay for phaser. There must be. Game timer. Interesting. 3-second delay. If game time now. Check by 3000. I'll steal that code and see if that works. So enemy hit. As you can see, this code I've stolen here. If game time now, time check 3 seconds later. Else still waiting. We don't really need the else. But we can increment this thing 3 seconds. Maybe 3 seconds is probably way too much. We can increment it after 1 second. And let's see if that changes anything. Just putting in a little delay there. Because as long as the enemy's touching the ball, it looks like it can count it like 1,000,000 times. Oops. I didn't like the timer. That's for sure. Let's see. Let's see if there's a different way to do this. I mean, we could just do delay then. Let's see. Delay. Here's some code I'll steal from the internet. Put a little delay in here. We'll use a promise. Set timeout. And delay 1000. Then do a thing. Delay 1000, then this enemy hit. Will it work? Who knows? We'll find out as soon as we hit an enemy, and it will either seize up or it will work how we want it to work. And it seizes up. Delay is not defined. I figured it was defined right there. This dot delay. And I should be checking my chat. Make sure if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in chat. Questions are always welcome here. Trying to get to an enemy hit as soon as possible. Oh, look at that. That was perfect. That was perfect. He went flying after me as soon as he got hit by a ball. But we're still counting up to 20 somehow without a 1 second delay. There's no way that was a 1 second delay in there. See, that one just went through 20. That should have taken 20 seconds to increment that much. Honestly. But yeah, I do like it when it... Now he's gotten Mad Bird, right? Which is... When I named it, I wanted to name it that so that I could, as soon as you hit him, he gets mad. Yeah. I'm not sure why that delay isn't working the way I would like it to. Hit 20 times. It incremented 20 times somehow. So this delay probably isn't working, to say the least. Delay, or, so I'm just going to pull it out of there anyway. Let's see what's another way to do this. I'm just not really familiar with set timeout. It's been so long that I've kind of set timeout, which is pretty much what we did. Set timeout. In here, we're saying this enemy hit plus plus and 1000 milliseconds. Delaying. See if this works. Enemy hit 0. It says delaying. Enemy hit 1, 2. That's what I was looking for. But then it goes up to 26 somehow. It went 1, 2 really slow, and then 26 all of a sudden. See, there we go. This one's a little bit better. But I wonder if it's continually updating. Now I'm going to have to collect all the cherries so we can generate another enemy to kill. And we'll see if that enemy should start at 0. All right, let's try to kill this little pally here. Bounce it. No, it's a 37. It was incrementing. Maybe we just delay, then do the console hit. So we do nothing, but just sit. Set timeout, 1 second, then enemy hit. There we go. As we can see, it's getting very hard to kill this mad bird. That's exactly what I want. That is exactly what I want. But it was easy to kill the bluebird, so I don't know why. See this? Nope, it still hit him 20 times in 5 seconds. So I don't know. Gonna have to mess with it. I'm actually pretty stuck on this particular thing for now. But heck, we got ourselves a ball that we can throw at enemies. We have some self-defense here. We can bounce a ball at our enemies. Ooh, I like that. I like how he hit it and he just flies at you like a madman. That definitely adds to the challenge. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure. Not really sure how I want to change that or how to address that. I mean, we might just have to up the precision a little bit. There he goes. Flies. Yeah, just would like a little bit better of a delay in there. Let's try like a 4-second timeout or something. Let's give that enemy some time to maneuver and get out of there after getting hit. That does not help at all. Weird. The 4-second delay, and I still killed him with 1 hit. Let's see what it does with this one. There we go. We got a little mad bird action, and yeah, still not quite enough of a delay. Not quite what I would like to see. But we're getting close. And you know, another thing I should do is post the score. I wonder how hard that would be to post the score on the game over screen. So whatever the game over screen, remember when we're calling that and we're saying game over? Here it is, this scene start, game over scene. What if we could pass in the score? If you touch an enemy, this is an update, right? Yeah, it's an update function. So why doesn't it like this? Scene start. Let's see. It should work. This scene start, game over scene. Score, will that work? We refresh. Basically what I'm just trying to do is at the game over, I want it to just display a little score right here. And the reason for that is because I want to see who can get the highest score. When we make this a playable game. Let's see, game over image. Let's add image. Let's reset button. Score equals this add text score. Let's see if we can at least add the text where we want to. We'll go straight to game over. Score up there. No. Score plus the score. It's probably 0. Start. I will attempt to collect a cherry before. And that player just died randomly. Score undefined. It's probably gotta pass it. Pass it in here somewhere. But I think I'm kind of out of time for that. Probably. Check my. I will get that implemented, but I gotta check my schedule here because I think I need to wrap this up pretty soon. Yes, I do have to wrap it up pretty soon. So I will commit this code. We'll figure out the score thing. This is kind of okay right now. I think it's okay. But I did get farther than I thought I would get in this game in an hour. Like, we did manage to have some self-defense available. See if it's going to bounce towards our friend there. Oh, our friend's going to catch up to it on his own, huh? So we'll figure this out here soon. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing a stream of this game next week, but I will be streaming. So check in to our stream, and we will see you there. And I will pick up on this after that. We're going to do another stream. Might do it like a marathon stream after that, just to kind of make up for skipping a week of building this game. We might do an even longer stream. So thank you all very much for joining. If you're on Twitch, we're going to find somebody cool to raid really quick. Bald Bearded Builder, does he accept raids? Oh, maybe. So we're going to go raid our friend, the Bald Bearded Builder, on Twitch. And for the rest of you, I will see you next week. Like I said, very, very cool stuff you will want to be a part of. So be sure to check it out. Start raid. Be sure to check it out. We will see you all next week. Thank you again for watching my stream. Next week, we've got a lot of awesome people, so be sure to follow us here on Twitch, and we will see you then.